Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to do a video where we are learning all about Kidspiration. So here I'm on my desktop. I've got a lot of different icons, and what I want to do is I want to look for one that has the little guy. He's yellow and he's in a blue box with red around him. So we're going to double click on Kidspiration. We're going to open the program. We are going to click OK, and then we are going to come to this screen. Now this screen is going to have new picture, writing view, math view, all of these for us. And you could open a file that we've done before, but because we've never done this before, it's going to be a new picture. So we're going to click on that. And now we come to a screen where we get to create our own. So the first thing I want you to look up here at your toolbar where you have go to writing view. We have our add symbol, link symbols, super grouper, clear, undo, redo, listen, and our student name, and symbol maker, and our word guide. So all of those we want to use at some point, but the one we're going to use the most is the one where we're adding. So if I have my main idea in the middle, and what we're focusing on is the water cycle. So we are going to click on main idea, and I'd like you to type water cycle in the middle. You could click water cycle. We can move it wherever we want on the screen, but we're going to leave it in the middle. And then I am going to add to it. But before I add to it, I want to show you something pretty cool. There's these arrows over here that help us, and we're going to click on the drop down, and it's going to list all of our different subjects, and we want to go to science, and I want you to click on weather 1. When you get to weather 1, we're going to have little pictures that are going to help us show what the water cycle is all about. So first thing I want you to do is we're going to click on this, make sure we have our red boxes around it so that we know we can change it. So as soon as I click on the sun, you're going to see this become the sun. So I want to put the sun over here, and I'm going to start to add to this. So this is where this water cycle begins. And now I'm going to click add, and notice my symbol went over there, but I want my symbol to come all the way down here. And this right here is the first step of our water cycle. So I'm going to go back over to my drop down, and under science, weather 2, you're going to find the perfect symbol, which is evaporation. So I am going to type in my first step, which is evaporation. And what happens is the water cycle, when we have the sun, heats up the water, and the water vapor starts to go up into the air. So we have step 1. Now I want to make step 2. So I click on it, make sure I have all my red boxes around it, because that's the one. If I click here, then I'm going to have an arrow pointing somewhere from the sun, but I want to click on evaporation. Next step, click add symbol. Okay, I want to add to the next step, which would be, we have evaporation, and then it goes up to condensation. But the best symbol I'm thinking is if we go back to weather 1, and we pick a cloud. So let's make it a cloud. We're going to make it a little bit bigger, and notice I could pull on one of my red boxes to make it much bigger. I'm going to type condensation in my box to show my next step. Okay, so now I want to click to have my red boxes. I've got to make my second step. So we've started the sun heats up the water, causes evaporation. The water vapor flies up into the air. It's now being collected in the sky, which forms clouds, which we call condensation. After condensation, which we all know from class what we've learned, is that the clouds start to get really heavy because they can't hold those water droplets anymore. And then we have the next step, which is precipitation. And I like to put it over here. And I'm going to click this cloud because that's the perfect picture for it. And I'm going to type precipitation. And now I have one more step to go. Now, there aren't many pictures where I have a lake or a river or any body of water where my precipitation can be collected back into. So I wanted to just connect right back to this picture because that's where the water was collected. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. And actually I can make it really wide if I want to, because I know this is my body of water. Oops, a little too much. See how it's so easy to play with? This is a great program for that. So I'm going to squish it a little bit more. Make sure I could see it. Perfect. So I want to just make it a little bit smaller. Doesn't want to work with me. Okay. So I want to click back on my last picture because this one went to this one. This evaporation went to condensation. And we could follow those arrows, which is great. This last piece is very important. You're going to click only here. And this arrow is going to point right back to evaporation. Actually, let's try one more time. There we go. See how it has to light up? Perfect. And I'm going to type collection into that bubble because that's what it needs to do. I'm going to move this one over, play around with it so it looks really nice and neat. Okay, so this is Kidspiration. Pretty easy to use. So now that we have created our concept map, we have organized our work, we would like to now save it. So I'm going to go up to File, and I'm going to Save As, and I want to put it on my desktop because that's the best place. And I'm going to label it as water cycle because that's what it is. And you could put your initials. I could put MW behind it so that I know it's mine for my first name and my last name. And then I'd like you to click Save, and it will go on our desktop. And we could print it. We can have it saved for a later date where we could pull it back up to show a friend. Okay, I'm glad you got to see Kidspiration, and now it's your turn to try it out. Good luck.